Welcome to the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce Education Committee Network's PAC 14 TV show, Education is Everybody's Business. My name is Ladd Colston. I am both a member of the Chamber and the CEO of Sustainable Visions, LLC here in Salisbury. I am your host for today's educational topic, which is listening to our students. What do they want to learn? Sponsored by the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore, Chamber CEO Bill Chambers, and the Education Committee Network members want this TV show to be a source of community awareness and knowledge of topics that impact education and workforce development here on Maryland's Lower Eastern Shore. We appreciate your listening in and providing us with your feedback on its usefulness. Please subscribe if you're viewing this show on YouTube, and a thumbs up if you like it. According to a 2016 Gallup poll, students who are engaged in school are 2.5 times more likely to get excellent grades and to do well in school overall compared with their most disengaged peers. Recently, the Child Trends Research Institute in Silver Spring, Maryland, completed a regional study and found that one of the best, most effective ways to engage youth is to talk to them, given that they are the experts of their own experiences. In this episode of Education is Everybody's Business, we will ask 4 selected local student representatives at the elementary school, middle school, and high school levels what is important to them. Let's listen and learn. Let me introduce to everyone Miss Naya Matthews. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
All right, it's a pleasure having you. For our listening audience, Miss Matthews is currently a graduating senior from Mardella Middle and High School in the Wicomico County Public School System. She has recently been accepted into the School of Business at the University of Penn. And for those of you that don't know, the University of Penn is an Ivy League school located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She has college and career aspirations that could prove to be an inspiration to many here on the shore. It is a pleasure to have you, Miss Matthews, as part of our show. Let's start off for our listening audience. What do you like the most about going to school and now being a graduating senior in the 12th grade? Just name, if you will, a few exciting things that you have learned specifically this year.
Okay. For me, school in general is a great place to combine learning with the aspect of socializing. I've always liked to learn, but also learning with my friends is the best way to learn. And I think that learning on its own is crucial, of course, but I think that learning with other kids around you makes it more fun, because who wants to learn by yourself? I don't think it's that fun. Something that I've learned this year that was really exciting was learning how to code in my AP Computer Science and Principles class. I learned how to use Python and JavaScript, and then at the end of the year I completed a project where I created my own restaurant selector app.
Wow, fantastic. And I understand that you have some officerships, if you will, with some school clubs in your senior year. Could you elaborate just a little bit on all of the various roles that you have this year?
Sure thing. So I took on the positions of, I'm class president for my class. I was elected that last year, and then I'm also president of the SGA in my school, which is also makes me the student representative to the Board of Education, so I attend monthly board meetings. I'm also president of the Honor Society, and I was president of the Honor Society last year as well. And then I'm also president of the Explorers Club at the Salisbury Police Department.
Fantastic. Wow, you got a resume already.
It's pretty stacked.
It's pretty stacked. That's wonderful. Okay, on the flip side, is there anything you don't like about going to school? Just a few things. We always like to balance things out.
Right. Okay. So for me, it's like the stress and pressure, but I also feel like for students, you can be as stressed or as pressure as you want to be. Like, it depends on the student that it is. Like for me, I took on multiple AP classes throughout my entire high school, so I always had like an extra workload per se. Because usually with AP classes, they usually have more rigor, but like some students don't have to take those AP classes. But I also feel like students should try to challenge themselves to make school more interesting. That way, you're more engaged. But then also, I don't like the standardized testing. Like, we have to take AP exams at the end of the years for most of those classes, but at the same time, colleges are going test optional. Like, even like the school that I applied to, they went test optional, so I didn't even have to send my test scores. And then at that point, it's like, why are we taking them? Like, I'm taking the AP Lit exam next week, actually, and I'm completely unmotivated to take it because my school doesn't give me credit for it, so there's like no reason to. So I think I don't like standardized testing. I know a lot of kids don't like it either.
Yeah, we're going to see how that works out. It's interesting that an Ivy League school has indicated that they did not need it.
Right.
And other colleges and universities still do. So this is change that's in the making, and it's interesting to hear your viewpoint on it.
Right.
Really. What I think schools, not only here on the Lower Eastern Shore or even across the state of Maryland, but what we found nationally is that schools that are very interested in student achievement really want to know what is it that students want to learn while they're in school. And as a result, what changes would you make in school to make learning more exciting for students overall?
So for most importantly, like as a high school student, I would change the time that we go to school. Like 7:45 is just a bit too early, especially if you're a student who is a student athlete, you're all tired from practice. And then like there's several students at my school who are athletes at the school, and then they go to like a travel team and have to have practice after that. And then there's also students who work like myself. And then there's some times where like I would go to basketball practice and then I would go to work right after. So I didn't get up that early in the morning. Like some students have to get up at like 5:45, 6 o'clock to get on the bus and catch the bus. I just think that it's like school's not fun when you're tired. So I think that even if we were to push it to like 8:30 for high school students and then get out at 3:30, I don't think it would expand the day that much. So I think that would be more fun. But then also sometimes the environments of schools with kids, there's a lot of social issues per se. Like in my school, a big problem that we had early on this year was racism, unfortunately. And it was really hard to combat that because a lot of the admin didn't know how to deal with it. The students didn't know how to respond to it. So I think that if there were more classes on like race and equality, then it would make the overall environment more comfortable for students. And I think that in this year, more so, like the last couple of years, students are more open with themselves. So I think that if there's classes on these kinds of things, then and like if it's incorporated into the education, then it'd be more fun for students.
Wonderful, across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I've noticed, we are experiencing a diversity of cultures
Right.
Here on the Eastern Shore, more so than before. And I guess the understanding of cultures and the comfort of knowing other cultures would be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you had talked about another change that you would like to see for some of the students here in Wicomico County, and I think it's starting to happen with junior achievement. You want to elaborate on that one?
Yeah, I wish that we had more opportunities, especially like in like the everyday school as like a required class for us to have like more classes on financial literacy, because like going in, being a senior, I'm about to go make that transition from being a high school student to a college student and also being a teenager to an adult. So I feel like if we had more classes, we would feel more prepared. I know about taxes because I've worked since I was 15, but I don't know like much about taxes. I feel like if that was something that that every student was taught, then we would be great. And like there are people at my job actually who are like 24 years old, and I'm like, did you guys have class on taxes? And they're like, nope. And I'm like, oh no. And then like this year I owe taxes for the first time. I didn't understand why or what to do, and my mom kept telling me to claim one, and I was like, what does claim one mean? What are you guys talking about? And I asked my manager, and she just kept saying, you got to do this, you got to do that, and I'm like, well, what is it? I don't understand. So I feel like if there are more classes that prepare students for the real world in that way, we would be more successful, and like maybe it won't be exciting for every student, but in the long run, I think we would appreciate it.
So more life planning. Great. Any other changes that you would recommend for schools as you depart?
I don't necessarily think so, but like some changes that are starting to happen, like even with like the testing, some of our AP exams are going online, so that there's like that big switch from doing paper from like all my middle school years, and then COVID happened, and then we had to do like only computerized. And I noticed that like with the middle schoolers that go to my school, a lot of them are still typing like with their fingers one by one because they didn't get to have like those computer classes and like those computer typing skills, those classes that we used to have, they didn't get to have them because they were online. So that's like one change that I think is like beneficial and not in the same way, because like now like on my AP exam I can type an essay really fast and I can do it faster than I can write it, but there's some classes that I don't think should be like completely online, like a math class per se. I think that that's better having to write it out with pen and paper.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, as you depart and leave the Wycomico County Public School System and depart to college, moving forward, what kinds of career aspirations do you have?
In the long run, I want to be a lawyer. I decided that I wanted to be a lawyer in 7th grade. In my 7th grade class, we had a mock trial, and I was like, I like this. I want to do this. And then I was also part of the criminal justice program at Parkside's CTE. So I completed that, and I really enjoyed that, and I was like, wow, I really want to do this. But then that class specifically was focused more on like law enforcement aspect, and I didn't necessarily want to do that, but I do know that I want to be a lawyer. So with me going to Wharton in the fall, I'm hoping that with my business degree I can like try to expand my horizons a little bit and like have some kind of experience in business law or entrepreneurship in general, which is what my major is going to be. And then that way, if I decide I don't want to be a lawyer, I could do like corporate law, but I could also do in like real estate or something like that.
Wonderful, awesome. Well, I'm wishing you the best. Wishing you great things as you pursue your future career aspirations. And I thank you so much for being a part of Education is Everybody's Business.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure now to welcome our second guest, Miss Evangeline Hill. Miss Hill is a graduating middle school senior at the Wycomico Day School. Miss Hill also recently won the 2023 Maryland Eastern Shore Regional Spelling Bee and is now preparing to represent the Lower Shore in the 2023 Scripps National Spelling Bee. That is just fantastic. Wow, congratulations.
Thanks.
I have a couple questions for you. And the first one is, what have you learned in school that you feel will help you in life?
Well, my teacher actually has a life skills 101 class that we have sometimes. Like we've talked about how to do laundry properly, how to clean like what things around the house, how to fix a car if you're like on the side of the road or something. Oh, and like how to write a resume and how to do a job interview. It's been really helpful.
So, tell me, on the flip side, leaving middle school and preparing to go into high school, what changes would you make in school to make learning more exciting for students?
Well, I feel like if there was some sort of incentive system, it would make them more motivated. Like if there was some sort of like fake currency that they could use to buy something at like a school or like a class store, like with pencil toppers and stuff, that would be like good, and they could get like a certain amount of money at the end of every day based on how good their behavior was.
Let me ask you this question. What would you like to do in life when you become an adult?
Well, for one thing, I've always really liked writing stories, so even if that doesn't take off as a career, I'll probably do that anyway, like as a side thing. And I've always liked architecture, like I like designing houses on paper sometimes, so I think being an architect would be cool. and by the same token, a landscape architect because I really like plants and like making things pretty. And also, I've always been like fascinated by machines. Like I've always wanted to know like how they work, what makes them tick. So I think an engineer would be a really cool career.
It's like in mechanical engineering?
Yeah.
Excellent. And you mentioned being a landscape architect as well, which means that you also have an interest in environment. Where will you be going for high school?
James M. Bennett High School.
James M. Bennett High School. And have you thought in terms of what college you may be interested in, or is that just a little too far away?
Well, obviously SU is like my first choice because it's really close to home. But like if I get any like really good offers and something that really like speaks to me, I'll probably go with that.
As you transition from Wycomico Day School to James M. Bennett High School, you know the class sizes might change. So what's your basic class size at Wycomico Day School?
I think the most is about 20 per class.
20 per class. And so maybe another additional 10 at the high school level, 30. You think you'll be able to handle that transition well?
I'm really good at ignoring people, so yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so you're ready for the transition.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Wish you much success in your life and in your career as well.
Thank you.
And also for that National Spelling Bee. Represent us. Please join me in welcoming our next guest, Mr. Kyle Warner.
Hi.
How you doing? Mr. Warner is a third grader at East Salisbury Elementary School, and Mr. Warner was recently selected to be Mayor of the Day for the city of Salisbury and was able to sign in some laws pertaining to our municipal public services. One was to support a budget increase for our fire and rescue department. Wow, that was fantastic. Did you enjoy that? Tell me, as a third grader, what do you like the most about going to school and being in the third grade?
Well, I do like cooking, reading, and doing math problems very, very much.
Cooking, reading, and doing math problems. Fantastic. All right. Did you like skateboarding?
Yes.
Did you enjoy that as well?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, tell me also, as a third grader, is there anything you don't like about going to school?
I really don't like getting bullied by my stutter and homework.
Homework and bullying. Yeah. You know, that's something that I think a lot of students at your age across the country experience. So you're not alone on that. Tell me, what have you learned in school that you feel will help you in life?
How to read, how to do math, and how to be myself.
Very good. Those are called life skills. Good. And you learned them in the third grade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic. You enjoy them?
Yep.
All right. My last question I'm going to throw out at you. If you've really started to think about what you want to be in life, what would you like to be when you grow up?
I would like to be president and help the homeless and end the war against China and Ukraine.
Wow, you'd like to make those kinds of changes as the President of the United States of America?
Mm-hmm.
That is fantastic. Well, I hope you achieve that goal.
Yep.
I really do. And I thank you so much for being on our show.
Yep.
And I wish you the best.
Yep.
All right. It's a pleasure to welcome our next guest, Miss Gloria Casimir. Miss Casimir is a fifth grader at Prince Street Elementary School who recently won first place at the 2023 Amazing Shake competition. I understand that this unique competition is designed to test your interpersonal skills by interacting with adults in various social and business situations.
Yes.
The Amazing Shape competition and the 5 houses that students are assigned to for cultural learning are innovations found only at Prince Street Elementary School. Wow, that's amazing. It's a pleasure to have you, Gloria.
It is a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure, it really is. So my first question is, what do you like the most about going to school? Name a few things for us.
A few things I like about going to school is just waking up in the morning and knowing that, everyone is kind. Cyberbullying being more popular in the generation and increasing, it's important to know that, at the school we treat each other with respect and, we treat each other like brothers and sisters. And one more thing is that everyone there shows equality. Everyone there knows and shows that everyone here deserves as much respect as other people do. None of us get treated differently, and I've noticed that in the economy, that has been happening lately. But one of the best things knowing about Prince Street is that there's always going to be equality. There's never going to be a difference. It's just going to happen, Nothing's going to change it.
Wow, that is fantastic. And I understand you do a lot of cultural learning there, and you are in one of the 5 houses. Which house are you a part of at Prince Street?
Kuamba, the yellow house, just represents creativity.
Okay. All right. That is phenomenal. Tell me something. As you're completing the 8th grade at Prince Street, what changes would you make in school to make learning more exciting?
The changes I would make to make learning more exciting is, to not boost your anger on everyone, There are classes where you could take like some deep breaths and, think about, the decisions. But I think the changes I would make is to take time, take breaks, because everyone could be going through something and not everyone has the time to talk about it. And, people always take their anger out on someone when there is something wrong with them. And, you never know what's wrong with them. So I would take breaks to make sure, everyone has an okay feeling mentally and emotionally. I think it is very important, because there's a lot of kids, that have mental breakdowns without knowing what's wrong, Just being there can kind of be overwhelming, knowing all the events we have in school. So I would take time to make sure that everyone has an okay feeling and everyone's good.
That is very interesting because I don't think many schools take mental health into consideration. They're so focused on getting the kids to read, to do math, to do all of the academic things, but if you're not in your right mind, it's hard for you to focus. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you see that often with kids, with the other students at the school, that it's hard for them to focus on academics because they're also thinking about some of their mental or emotional problems?
Yes, not only other children, but sometimes me, you get that feeling before you go on a test and you start worrying about other things. But, yes, I've seen it a couple of times. But, this is why there's quality in the school. We always treat each other and always ask questions about one another.
Awesome. That is fantastic. Appreciate that insight. In the past couple of years, do you feel that you've grown verbally, emotionally, and physically? And if so, how?
I feel like I've grown more verbally, knowing the Amazing Shake competition, it's always going to be that nervous feeling because you've never done this before, especially me. I never done this before, knowing that I've never come out the shell. This event has been very helpful, That event helped me, come out more with other people and have more insights to share with other people and interact. So yes, I've grown verbally, emotionally, yes, more. Coming to school is always just a great joy, emotionally, because I've always gone there with a smile, always treating other people how I want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
So it is just amazing because a lot of people there are just so caring. And what was the other one?
Physically, and I also want to throw in there intellectually, because I think you had mentioned something about literacy. Did you mention anything about reading? Have you?
Yes.
Yes.
So, intellectually, yes. Reading teachers and math teachers, they always show enthusiasm. They always show gratitude, and they always work hard and show dedication towards their work and making us feel comfortable and happy with them. I think it is important to have a relationship with other people, especially with the teacher, because if you don't feel comfortable with other people, you never know what's going on, and it could potentially lead to having problems. So I think it is important to have enthusiasm in making the children feel comfortable with you and others.
And do you feel comfortable enough now with all that you've learned at Prince Street? Are you prepared to go to the next level in middle school?
I think I am. These teachers have prepared me a lot, so I am excited to go to 6th grade. I think I can do it.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. And lastly, do you have any, career ambitions? Have you thought about what you might want to be when you grow up?
Yes, I have many times.
Okay.
I've thought about becoming a doctor or either a doctor for all, and I'm going to elaborate. A doctor for all, in my case, means, treating old people, kids, pets, insects, animals, and more. I think it would be a pretty awesome job to do that, especially knowing, the endangered animals and climate change here. I think it would be a very helpful thing to do for this world. I think it would be very awesome, yes.
That sounds very, very eclectic, if you will. A doctor of all things, all living things.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I wish you the best.
Thank you. I wish you
I
too.
really do, and I wish you much success.
I wish you much success too.
All right. Well, this brings us to a close for our 5th show. Please listen out for our next broadcast, where we will feature the educational topic, Eastern Shore Teachers. We support you. I'm Ladd Colston. I'm your host. And remember, education is everybody's business.